Good morning. I always struggle a little bit getting these things coordinated because I have to launch in one place and then hope that people see it. So I just start talking. So I'm going to type in good morning. Except it says good morning. And is anybody here? Do we have anybody? Nope. Okay, let's keep trying. Edit. Okay. Are we, anybody there? Oh, good. Sorry about that, guys. Unless there's a different way to do it. Good morning, Jenny. I have to launch this, and then it actually goes through Google Hangouts, and so it's two different screens. Thanks. Good morning from Eastern North Carolina. Good morning. Good morning, Olga. Oh, you know what? Of course, the clock is chiming, and Piper really wants to go out. I am so sorry. Hold on 1 second. Good morning, Jenny. I have to launch this, and then it actually goes through Google Hangouts, so it's two different screens. I am so sorry. Is everyone still here? You know, Piper's a lovely dog, but it goes without fail. I've tried everything I can to make sure that they have food and water and toys and treats and have had lots of love and said they don't need me for a minute. Never works. Good morning, Rose. So this is, for those of you who don't know, this is a very free-form type of thing. I just try to talk, answer questions if anyone has them. Oh, Jenny says that she's in Southport, North Carolina. So where's Kimmy? Speaking of that, I'm going to think about having an in-person thing in the Greensboro area. Hey, Mary Beth, good morning. Just a group, to kind of an not organizational, that's not right. Just a initial information session. Maybe some people want to get together on a regular basis for some support. And I'm thinking of trying to coordinate something like that. So more on that to follow. Good morning from Oregon. It's early out there. Hey, Janie, our daughter lives in Oregon, Portland. Washington, North Carolina. There's where Kimmy's from. Okay, as people kind of pop in, and I don't know how many will show up. I hope plenty, but we never know. I think last time at one point there were like 200 people on from all over the place. Does anyone want to come in with a question? Casey, do you think the artificial sweeteners will cause cravings? I have cravings in the late afternoon and evening almost every day. You know, we all have to figure that out for ourselves, but I will tell you, this is my second cup with Splenda in it. And we've used artificial sweeteners straight on through. So is my husband. I do not get cravings for sweet. Now, Mary Beth, have you been doing this for a while? Are you pretty sure you're in ketosis? And if you just think about that, and I apologize if I should know more of your history, but if you're in ketosis, that should help with the cravings. There goes the cuckoo clock. Hey, good morning from Tampa. If artificial sweeteners, and some people say they do kind of trigger, you know, a craving for sweets. I haven't had that. Some people have said that they do. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping here, okay? On my YouTube channel, I try to respond to all comments. It's getting more difficult because I try to also respond to messages that I get from my blog and the Facebook page, etc. I do try to, but there are several times I have typed in a response to a comment, and for some reason it just won't take. It just won't take. And I think that might have something to do with the recipients, the original posters, privacy settings. So if you've made a comment or asked a question and I have not responded, check your privacy setting. I don't want anyone to think that I'm not answering a question if I can. Okay, and so Mary Beth, you've been doing this since December 1st. You have 5 more pounds to go. So you may not be in full ketosis, which might be something about the cravings. I don't know. Do you test for ketosis? And if you are and you're still getting the cravings, you know, someone asked me several times, she kept asking, how do I get through the cravings? And the only thing I can tell you is don't cave. And it sounds simplistic. Hey, Lady Fairfax, you're new. Are you new to, good morning. Are you new to, hi, Marion. Are you new to keto? Are you new to this channel? Are you new to this live event type of thing? Let us know what's going on. How are you doing? And I'm going to move my screen around a little bit so I can see things a little bit better, if you don't mind. So indulge me. I know it must look weird from your end. On the, it also looks like a time delay. I mean, it sounds like a time delay on my side, so it's a little confusing for me. I'm easily confused. Excuse me, one more second. I'm just trying to squidge something over so I can read. Okay, AB. I've been at this for 5 weeks straight and barely lost 2 pounds, the same 2 or 3 pounds I lose and gain periodically. Very frustrating, trying not to be discouraged. Any thoughts? Hi, Susie. So you've been doing this for 5 weeks straight. Do you know if you're in ketosis? And I sound like a broken record. And the reason I ask that question, and keep in mind, I do coaching, and these are the questions I ask my coaching clients if they're stuck or stalled or confused, whatever. I ask a series of questions to try to get at what's going on. Hi, good morning, Urith from Norfolk. Good morning. If you're in ketosis and you're not losing, and I ask if you're in ketosis because that means you have lowered your carbohydrate intake to a point where you're vegetarian. Okay, that doesn't mean you're not in ketosis. You can do it. As a matter of fact, I did study in Dr. Westman's book. I think I might have told you last week that I would look that up. It is just more of a challenge. Coconut oil, avocado oil, eggs if you can eat them. But and not root vegetables, which I know might be hard. You're going to have to find a way to get some satiating good fats in, mainly from eggs, if you will eat them, fatty fish, if you will eat them, and avocado and coconut oil and things like that. Now, I apologize, I'm going to go on, but I'm going to explain why I ask about the ketosis in a second. Dinah says, took your advice and cut out the extra fat in my coffee. My scale is moving downward again. Thank you. I also heard from someone else this week on a Facebook Live event. Same thing happened. She lost 6 pounds, I think. Okay. Okay, my skinny plate. Sound is off. And please let me know if you hear anything weird. I am wearing a microphone. Hi, Christine from Ireland. My people are from Ireland. My great-grandmother was Katie Devine from Ireland. And I have the luck of the Irish. I will tell you that's a thing because I've got it. I'm the luckiest person in the world you will ever meet. Hello from Michigan. So here's my thinking. I'm just going to say this out. Someone has a question. Say you're trying, you've been losing and maybe you stall. And a stall, remember, is 4 weeks with no weight loss and no inches lost. And inches lost is important. One of my coaching clients, she thought she was stuck for a week. She was so discouraged. She was fairly new into it, you know, only about the 3rd week. And she got in touch with me and I said, well, have you measured? She said, no, I'll do that tonight. She followed back up with me. She lost like that week, like 4 inches that week, but not a pound on the scale. 4 inches is a lot. So measure your inches and look at the scale. Okay, my skinny plate. Loose skin happens if your skin has been stretched so far that it loses its elasticity. Yeah, loose skin. I've been doing keto correctly off and on for 6 months. As soon as I cave to cravings, I gain a pound or two. I think every time I'm finally about to get to ketosis, I get the worst cravings. Okay, so doing it on and off is problematic. Okay, I've been asked many times, hi Florida, do I have a carb day or a carb meal? Do I cycle the carbs? N-O exclamation point. I don't. I want to be in ketosis, not only for fat burning mode. Remember, this is not a weight loss diet. It's a fat burning diet. So I'm burning fat for fuel and I have body fat to lose. But there are so many downstream effects that have nothing to do with weight. I don't want to lose that. And there's no logical reason to do it. You think you're going to shock your system and surprise your system? No, all you're going to do is get yourself out of ketosis. You're going to feel like crud. You're going to get cravings. It's going to take you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days to get back into ketosis. Don't do it. It's much faster to go from burning ketones to burning glucose than the other way around. It takes hours to go from burning ketones to burning glucose. It takes days to go from burning glucose to burning ketones. So no cheating for me. Hello from Florida. How do you check for ketosis? I use the urine strips. Do you think that is okay? Yes, I had a conversation this past week since our last get together. I check usually by blood, but not very often because I'm always in ketosis. I will check if the scale does something wacky, which it still does. I went up 2.7 pounds from, I think, Friday to Saturday. That's a lot considering I only have about 8 to lose. I wasn't really worried. I knew it was probably water, but just to make sure that I had not eaten something accidentally or something got in there that I hadn't tested my ketones. I was 2.9. It was good. So I only test now when something odd is going on. But the urine strips are perfectly fine, okay? There's a lot of yelling into the camera out there about ditch your keto sticks. They are useless. The waste of money. No, that's not exactly accurate. Not sure how that got started, other than there are a couple of things. Lady Fairfax, I feel yucky after eating a cookie. It makes you feel like crud. It's almost like carbs become toxic. Okay, keto sticks. They can sometimes, and I spoke with a clinical researcher this week, which is going to lead me to a question here in just a minute. I'm going to ask a favor of you guys. We're going to be part of a trial. So I said, let me ask you something about the keto sticks, because I've been part of a couple of trials, and they always use the keto sticks and blood and 2 types of breath readings to talk about ketosis. So I'm thinking, why is the professional researcher this is their entire field is about ketosis? Why are they bothering with keto sticks if they're useless? They can give you a false negative, meaning that shows that there's nothing. You're neutral, you're taupe. And for those of you who don't know, there are like several, 5 or 6 different color readings. And the taupe one means can indicate you're not in ketosis. Any other reading you're in, the lightest pink is just as good as the darkest purple. You can get a false negative if the strips have expired, and they will expire. So just look on the packaging for the expiration date. If they have not been stored properly, they need to stay in their case, in a drawer. They're very sensitive to light. So don't take them out. Don't leave the top open. And if you're checking in the morning, sometimes you'll read neutral because you've stored up a whole night's worth of pee. And so when you're peeing, the ketones the acetoacetate, which is what it is, the ketones can be diluted. So it look like you have nothing, but it's really just diluted. Check in the afternoon or the evening. My husband checks in the evening now. When you're have less output, so it's more concentrated. Someone wrote, no, that's not right, because you're just showing that you're spilling over ketones on the urine strips. I hate to tell you, that's what ketosis is, okay? That's the definition. You can also get a false negative. If you have been in ketosis a long time, sometimes the acetoacetate, depending on your body chemistry, will actually be reabsorbed. and it'll never make it to your urine stream. I've been in ketosis for 3 years, and when I was part of this trial about 3 months ago, I was still showing, pink and purple. So it wasn't reabsorbing in mine. You can get a false positive, and you want to look at the packaging. If you are on certain vitamins that are high in riboflavin, or if you're on certain medications, those can sometimes cause a false positive. But by and large, you're okay to use the keto sticks. They're much less expensive than blood, and they're pretty accurate if you keep these things in mind. That was really a long answer. You're always on taupe. Your strips are brand new, then maybe you're not in ketosis. But check in the evening, not in the morning, okay? Just says no sugar. Just say no to sugar cravings. You got to get some pickles. Yeah, a coaching client of mine said that something on a military thing. I don't know what the military connection is right now. I can't say. When she gets cravings, she drinks some bitter black coffee. She doesn't like black coffee, but it's bitter, and that helps her with the craving. I've never heard that before, so that might be a good tip. And maybe the pickles would do. Something that's bitter will counteract that sugar craving, which I don't know it, but it sounds, if it works, it works. How about nuts, and should I limit it? Nuts are not on page 4, sister. I hate to tell you. That's a big disappointment, a big surprise to people. Nuts are very easy to overeat. They are calorically dense, and they're not low in carbs. So I don't eat nuts because that is something that I can just keep eating mindlessly, and it'll screw me up. What does spilling over ketones mean? It just means when you're in ketosis, all 3 things can happen at one time. The ketones, its body chemistry, will release acetoacetate, which is released through the urine, beta hydroxybutyrate, which is found in the blood, and acetone, which comes out in the breath. It's just the way the chemistry is. It's like what do you call it? Not the waste product, sounds too negative, but it's the byproduct of your body burning ketones. So it just means there's acetoacetate in your urine, which means there's ketones in your urine. Macadamia nuts are not particularly low in carbs, but they are super high in fat. But I'm telling you, nuts are not on page 4. If you want to eat them, eat them. If you're trying to figure out why you're not in ketosis or why you're not losing weight, maybe you look to the nuts. I limit the almond flour, okay? In my experience, it is just not a good idea to try to fake baked products. It's just one of those things on the ketogenic diet. Things that in the other world are baked using wheat flour, rice flour, rye and all this stuff. It's just difficult to duplicate. You can use almond flour. If you've seen my almond cookie recipe, I bake them, but my husband eats them. He has a much different tolerance for carbs than I do. He was never overweight. He was never really metabolically damaged. He got the middle-aged spread when he got to be 50. But he's doing this for health, for mental clarity. He's doing it for athletic performance. He keeps it, and he's in ketosis. So he has a higher range of carbs that he can eat. And he limits the cookies. He counts them out. And he has them with coffee in the evening. But I don't try to fake the baked stuff. Not too much. There are so many dessert recipes. I'm going to tell you, it's another thing. I think if you can get by with it, if it works for you, fantastic. But if you're struggling, either with cravings, you're not losing weight, you're not in ketosis, you don't have energy, it just doesn't feel like this diet has been described to you. Do you have a lot of frankenfoods in there? Things we're trying to make something they're not. It's hard to fake a cupcake. There are certain recipes, and I've got them on my website. Cheesecake, which is essentially fat. I'm going to have to excuse myself one more time. The dogs are having a fit outside. I am so sorry. Excuse me. Losing weight. You're not in ketosis. You don't have energy. It just doesn't feel like this diet has been described to you. Do you have a lot of frankenfoods in there? Things we're trying to make something they're not. It's hard to fake a cupcake. There are certain recipes, and I've got them on my website. Cheesecake, which is essentially fat. Now go to bed. I'm going to have to excuse myself one more time. The dogs are having a fit outside. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you go live. Where did my coffee go? I can't find my coffee. Oh, it's right in front of me. Sorry about that. So I agree. Almond flour very sparingly as a treat for those types of foods. How many times a day do you drink bulletproof coffee? Cheryl, you need to look at some of my videos, sister. I don't drink bulletproof coffee. I made a video a long time ago about it, explaining what it is. And at that time, I would occasionally have it. And then I realized I really slowed up and I was kind of stalled. And had a little chat with Dr. Westman. He said he's not a fan of bulletproof coffee. Don't drink your fat. I want to burn body fat. If I'm drinking a lot of fat, and depending on how you make it, bulletproof coffee, particularly if you're putting, I think recipes call for 1 or 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 or 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and some people put cream in on top of it. That's many, 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 many calories of fat, which is fine. But that just, it's going to be readily available to your system, and it's not going to burn body fat if your body's energy needs are being met by the fat you're consuming in your mouth. It's not going to turn to your stores of body fat. So I don't drink bulletproof coffee. If you want to and you're losing, that's great. If you get to the point where you kind of slow up and you're not losing, again, here's why I ask if you're in ketosis. If you're in ketosis, which means you've reduced your carbs, because the first question is always, have you reduced your carbs enough? Are you doing total carbs or net carbs? If you're in ketosis, you have reduced your carbs sufficiently for your body to start burning fat for fuel rather than glucose. If you're not losing, or something's not right, if you're stalled, then you start to have to look at, are you overeating dietary fat? You're doing fine, maybe you're maintaining, but you're drinking or eating fat bombs to the extent that your body doesn't need to burn body fat, so you're not losing weight. If you're not doing that, are you just eating too much food in general? And everyone here, I'm going to ask, and I just want you to type, what's the hardest part of this diet for me? I'm talking about me because I've said it a billion times. The hardest part of this has been the steepest learning curve for me, and something I struggle with every day is eating only when hungry. So if you're not losing, but you know you're not overeating body fat, you're in ketosis. Are you just eating more food than you need? You don't have to, you're welcome, Cheryl. You don't have to count calories necessarily. I don't really count calories. I never did count calories. I do track I do weigh my vegetables because that's where the bulk of my carbs come, and I'm very low carb, okay? I'm usually around 10 to 13 to 15 grams of carb a day, total carbs, and almost always that's going to come from vegetables. And because I like vegetables, I can tend to overeat them. If you go to MyFitnessPal, you can see what I try to track log every day. I'm not always successful at it, but I do try to. And I try to post photos of my food on Instagram. So you're welcome to follow me there. It's just Casey Durango. And I'm down to about 1 meal a day usually. Some days I eat more. Some days I eat less. Saturday, I think I ate about 500 calories of food, and that consisted of some cheese and a little bit more cheese. I don't remember. Our daughter and son-in-law were here, and but then the next day I ate more. We had a big family breakfast. My husband cooked a perfectly ketogenic meal, and then we went out to a steakhouse for dinner, and I ate, and I enjoyed it, but I ate more. So only eat when you're hungry. How long did it take to lose my lower belly pooch, the one under your belly button? Oh my God, I can't believe I asked that. That's okay. Knowing when you're hungry, yeah. Claire knew what that answer was going to be. I had an interesting, I don't know how long it took because I didn't know I had lost it because psychologically I couldn't think about it. Snacking between meals, don't snack. Just don't eat. Your MyFitnessPal challenged. Some people struggle with it. I just keep it simple. I really only log it for me to look at carbs. I don't worry about macros. They'll take care of themselves. If you keep your carbs below 20 and only eat when you're hungry and eat from the allowed food list. I went to a plastic surgeon. I will probably do a series about this. It is probably going to be, I'm probably going to set up something called a Patreon account, where people can essentially donate for deeper content and for some different rewards, because my calendar's filling up a lot, and I need to do that. Plus, I don't want to put everything I do on blast, because some of this will be fairly personal. But I went to a plastic surgeon last week or the week before, and I have to have these things worked on for reasons that I covered in a couple of other videos. But I was, I've got tummy tuck, abdominoplasty. And so I was figuring, I've got some loose skin. It's not horrendous. It's actually not as bad as I anticipated. It might have been, considering. Oh, did I tell you guys I hit a new low since last time? I don't think so. I don't think I made a video about it specifically. 93.9 pounds. I think that was on Thursday or something like that. I can't remember. And that's 114.4 pounds off of the highest. And I'm 5 feet tall. So that's a lot of weight to have been on a short frame. So I thought the skin would actually have been worse. But anyway, so he's talking to them. Asks. And I said, okay, so we can do this. And how many do you, how much will it cost and all this stuff? I said, well, you do liposuction at the same time. He said, well, first of all, I don't do liposuction at the same time. There's a lot of trauma that goes on with this, and it's difficult to tell what's swollen tissue. He said, but you don't need liposuction. So what do you mean? He said, you don't need it. This is just skin. You have got to be kidding me. That's just skin? Yeah. No. I never anticipated that a doctor would tell me I had no fat. And we are talking about the part below my belly button. So, but I don't know when that might have happened. And our body loses where it wants to lose. I used to have a ginormous rear end, huge. It is now almost disappeared. I went from having a lot of junk in my trunk to having no acetol. There's a laser treatment that will tighten up loose abdominal skin and stubborn belly fat. Can't speak to that. Don't know about that. It's hard living with a skinny carboholic that just does not get it. Yes, Susie, the best tip is to eat only when hungry. And that wasn't my tip. That was Dr. Westman's tip. And it's actually part of the initial program. Keep your carbs below 20. Eat only, if it's not on page 4, don't eat it, which is the approved food list. And eat only when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. It's nothing new. I started doing bulletproof coffee. Losing slowed down. Plus, I find I want more butter. Stop all of the. It is a common misbelief that you have to eat extra butter. You have to eat a lot of fat to burn fat. That's what gets you into ketosis. That's the belief by some. You have to eat fat to burn fat. If you eat a lot of extra fat, that'll jumpstart you into ketosis. That's not the way it works. The absence of carbs in your liver not pushing glucose out to the bloodstream, that's what creates ketosis. If you're not burning glucose because it's not there, your body is not stupid, and it says, let me look to an alternative fuel source, and it starts burning body fat, or ketones, which it can get from body fat. Think of it this way. Those who will tell you, you must pile on the fat, you must eat fat to get into ketosis. And then there are people say, well, fast for a week. And that'll straighten out your insulin and get your, everything straightened out, and you'll go into ketosis. How can those two things be true? If you're fasting, by definition, you're not eating a lot of fat, are you? No. And forget about it if you're doing it for weight loss. We have two sources of fuel, glucose or ketones. We can't store glucose in our blood. So if it's not there after a very short period of time, your body looks to an alternative. If we couldn't burn our own body fat for fuel, people would die of starvation quickly. Your brain would cease to function. Keep this in mind. You don't need to add fat to get into ketosis. Take the fat that comes naturally occurring with your protein sources. Chicken with the skin, the fatty part of the chicken or the duck or the turkey, steak with the fat, pork chop with the fat, bacon with the fat, eggs, eggs, eggs. And then if you want some butter on your vegetables, you know, mayonnaise a little bit, but not unlimited. You can't spot reduce, your body will just, your body's going to lose fat where it's going to lose fat. Pooch is horrible. Can you give a few tips on how to avoid eating due to stress? Oh, and PDF on Facebook group page 4. Also, if you go to Keto After 40 and Beyond, I created a group page. It's not my page, I just started it, but it's a community page that anyone can post. Up at the top, there's a file. There's page 4. There's also a video of Dr. Westman that one of the members kindly posted. So Keto After 40 and Beyond. Stress. You know, the only way to, not the only way, I think a way to try to deal with stress eating is to prepare for it before it happens. There are certain, meditate, yeah. Deal with stress before you're in the thick of it. It's like if you were a jealous person, if you really have the green-eyed monster, when you're in the thick of seeing your mate talking, probably innocently, with somebody else, but you're a jealous person, when you get jealous, it's a little bit late to try to pull back for that. You have to prepare for that situation. If you're a person that you know that you're going to eat when you get stressed out, whether it's work, family, the state of the world, whatever might be stressing you out, and you say, I tend to eat when I'm stressed, you're just going to have to say, well, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to prepare myself to not use food to reduce my stress. Take a bath, take a walk, go to the gym and punch something. Don't punch your mate or your dog. And someone made a quote that I thought was really good. If hunger is not your problem, food is not your answer. I don't know, it was unique to that person. Maybe that phrase has been around a long time. That's profound. How in the world is eating going to solve your problem if what it is that your boss is a jerk and you fear losing your job? How is food going to help you if you're in, you have 3 kids, all of whom were within 3 years of each other, and you are the person driving them to and fro? Food is not the answer. So I think that is something that you have to prepare for in advance. Just arm yourself every morning. Like any 12-step program. Get up in the morning, maybe meditate a little bit. I keep a rosary next to my bed. And I'm raised Catholic, and I'll just pray a rosary. I find it very soothing. And I'll try to plan out my day. And you can arm yourself and say, maybe tomorrow, if I have a rough day, maybe I'll let go and I'll overeat, or I'll eat something I shouldn't. But today I'm not going to. All I'm going to do is not do it today. Just tell yourself that. Looking forward to the bone broth recipe. When will you be putting that up on YouTube? I actually, right off camera here, a big crock pot, and I'm making stages. Most boring video ever, because it's a crock pot full of bones and water, and I'm going on 48 hours. I had a little bit more water, but I will do it, and I'll show you the end result. But it'll probably take me another day, because the biggest thing of this is collecting the bones. We're buying soup bones and just having a place on your counter to let it simmer in a crock pot, or it could be in a stock pot on super low simmer on your cooktop. But thank you for asking. Drink a glass of water before going for food. Yeah, the powerful statement, I assume you mean if hunger is not your problem, then food is not your answer. Yeah, I think that is powerful. Now, I don't want to drone on. We're at 35 minutes. I don't want to overstay my welcome. Oh, I do want to go some housekeeping things, okay? I think I said this before, but I'll say it again. I do offer one-on-one coaching. This is a little bit commercial for myself, but I've got to do it. Coaching by video, telephone, or email. If you go to my website and go to the coaching tab, you can just look and see, and you can reach out to me and ask about scheduling. I already covered about no response to the comments. I'll repeat it. If you've asked me a comment on YouTube and you've not gotten a response from me, sometimes they just don't take, and I think it's a privacy setting on the original commenter's side. If anyone out there has been in ketosis for 1.5 years, 2 years or more, and I'm not trying to be cryptic, but if you could email me at Casey@CaseyDurango.com and just in the subject line put ketosis. I don't need any particular personal information. Just have you been in ketosis that you've measured by measurement, not just by knowing, well, I know I'm in ketosis because I've lost weight, either by urine, blood, whatever you might be doing. If you've documented it some way, even better. Written it in a notebook, put it down on a spreadsheet. If your meter, has a history, if you could just email me that, it would be great. Also, if you are aware of any keto-friendly or low-carb-friendly medical providers in your area, or those that you think might be open to it, if you could email me that as well, just put doctors up in the subject line. Keto after 40 and beyond, I did that. I think that's all I wanted to say on those, so that's my housekeeping. I'll probably repeat that at the end. Let me see, what would you do? What do you think the calories are in bone broth? I've been making the crock pot. Should I be concerned about the calories? I really tried to research that. I'm counting them as nothing, because what you're talking about is, and I don't put any additives. I don't put carrots or, Lord, no, not carrots, because we know they're not on page 4. I just put bones and a little bit of apple cider vinegar to help leach out the minerals and water. So I'm going to say there aren't any calories in a bone. So I'm saying none. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If somebody knows better, let me know. Is anyone else not seeing the notifications on Facebook? I'm following, but for some reason I'm not seeing them. You're talking about for the live events? If that's the case, keep in mind that YouTube and Facebook are different notifications. I think, okay, someone correct me if I'm wrong. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, to my channel, and you click on the little bell next to the word subscribe, it'll do a drop down and it can say, get pushed notifications of events. I think that's the answer. Going to go back to the olive oil on the veggies. I need to push the plate away when I feel satisfied. Kept eating last night to finish the plate. That's a no-no. Ironic. Do you follow my Instagram? I took a series of 3 photographs last night on Instagram. It was part 1, part 2, part 3. And my indulgent family allowed me to sit there and take pictures of my food, which I think is really weird to do. But anyway, the last picture was most of the steak and even the last bit of green beans. And then the moral of the story was, you don't have to eat it just because it's there. And that's another hard one to overcome. Look forward to another coffee. I want to do another joint chat. That's where we can all do it. Again, the schedule's becoming kind of booked, and here's what I'm thinking of implementing is on the Patreon site and I feel kind of weird doing this, but I got to keep the lights on, and I got to be able to keep doing this in the way I want to do it with quality. Maybe for an X dollar donation, you'll get invited to X number of video chats. I still will be doing free content. They just may be less intimate. Because they are fun and I learn a lot. I just put bones in apple cider vinegar and water too. Salt, pepper, garlic, delicious. And see, the way I look at it is I'm doing this not for the flavor of the broth so much as the minerals. I can make a little cup of bouillon or use it as a base for something else and change up my spices. Sometimes I like a little bit of curry and my husband not so much. So I'll use it semi-plain and then doctor it up. Yes, go to YouTube and subscribe and click the bell. Thank you very much. You are a wealth of knowledge, as always, Karen. The bone broth I bought says 5 calories per 8 ounces. That's for store-bought. And I would look at the ingredients. If it says anything other than bones and water, then they are going to have more calories. I thought that there might be fat in the bone broth, so my calories might be higher. My bones are pretty bare. I buy some, and there might be some marrow, and there may be. I could be off. But I'm not really worried about those fat calories. The density of fat in calories of coconut oil and butter and MCT oil. Let me tell you my thought on MCT oil. Okay, I'm going to lower my voice so I don't sound like I'm screaming. MCT oil stands for medium chain triglyceride. Medium chain triglyceride, chemically, is something, as I understand it, the body cannot keep on it. It's transient. It's an excellent source for fat fuel if you're a fat burner. But it can't be stored. So you're like, oh, great, I can eat this and it can't be stored on my body. Keep in mind, if your body has a very readily source of fat, it's not going to use what it does have stored. MCT oil is something to sell. Now, it might be great for bodybuilders who have very little body fat. They are fat adapted. They need extra fat down their gullet because they've wrung out every bit of fat off their bodies. Or maybe for endurance athletes. I don't know about that. Same thing with exogenous ketones. Exogenous ketones means ketones taken in from outside the body. They may make your test strips look like you're in ketosis, but all you're doing is taking them in here and sending them out there. That you don't need to drink ketones to be in ketosis. You need to reduce your carbs. You need to tell your system, you're not getting any more glucose, so burn some ketones. You're interested to see my bones? Like this one, my clavicle? No, I know that's not what you meant. I took pictures of them. You made beef broth and it was yuck. You only like chicken? Well, different stroke, sister. It's the palest pink for the first time. Now, that's good, right? Because you were told, right? You're not saying palest pink for the first time and that's bad because it used to be purple. Because, it doesn't matter. Light pink, dark purple, if you're in ketosis, like a pregnancy test. I only like chicken or turkey bone broth. Interesting. To reduce fat and bone broth, cook in what? Cook it one day in the refrigerator. The fat will solidify. Oh, well, yeah, and I'll show you that. You do skim off the fat. I just don't have that much. So I let it do, and it comes off in a nice, like, little iceberg of fat. And then I have jelly underneath, and that's what you want with all the collagen. Completely agree about the MCT oil. Thank you. Yeah. There's, this is such a simple program. It's just about the food. I'm going to be really blunt. There's almost no products you should need to buy for it. I mean, testing supplies if you want to, but there's almost no product you should buy other than food. It's different. And let me explain to you why. It's the absence of carbs that make you go into ketosis. If you're in ketosis, you're a fat burner. If you're burning fat and you're not over consuming fat, your body will burn fat. That's how it works. And it'll regulate your insulin, and your blood sugar will drop. And your brain is burning ketones, which it prefers to glucose. And so your mood regulates. It's not all this craziness. Your inflammation goes away. Has anyone here, Olga, do you speak Spanish, Olga? Por exactamente. Exogenous ketones equals expensive pee. You got it, sister. I only use MCT oil for homemade mayo since it tastes better than with olive oil. Interesting. I do make homemade olive oil, and I use the not, extra virgin full olive. I use the extra fine because of that. I don't like the heavy olive oil taste, but I hadn't thought about MCT oil. It's a good idea. Agreed. Single ingredient food is the best medicine. Absolutely. Organ meats on page 4, yes. As a matter of fact, organ meats are one of the best things you can eat. If you ever have a chance to see a lecture by Zoe Holcomb, she is a science. She analyzes analytics. She's very witty. She's from the UK. Y habla español de cubana. Mi esposo es de Colombia. Offal, or organ meats, absolutely the single best food you can do. That and super dark chocolate. Avocado oil, I've heard that for mayonnaise. Think about this. Okay, can someone get rid of this troll? I don't know how to do it. So I don't know how to do it. If someone can get rid of that person or report them, can I do it? See, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to try. I'm going to report. Okay, I'm trying it. And I'm going to say block. Hey, I did it. Thanks, you guys, for last time. Thank you, guys. Last time, if you recall, there was a troll, and I didn't even know anything about that. Oh, and thank you guys so much for telling me last time I was stupidly put my driver's license up for everyone, the entire world. See, what a numbnuts. Thank you. I blocked it, so hopefully they can't come back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything else? Okay, we're at 46 minutes. I don't want to burn up time. I'm going to try to continue to do Monday morning. Oh, and I do want to give, are my girls, vintage girls here from 02 Fitness in historic Wilmington? Are they here? I haven't heard anything. Give a shout out. Monday mornings, 9 o'clock Eastern. Trying to do Facebook Live Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock. The afternoons and evenings tend to get filled with coaching sessions and other things. So I'm going to try to do this as long as I can. I will continue to provide free content as long as I can and as long as people want it. Thank you very much. Homemade mayo, yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other? Oh, I have a question. I got a comment, and whoever made the comment may be here, through YouTube, that she had been postmenopausal, but after 8 months, her period came back. And that she's in another Facebook group, and that several women had reported the same thing. Now, that could be a coincidence. A full disclosure, due to discovery of cancer when I was pregnant with our third child, I haven't had a period. Good news was we have our third child against medical recommendations. I haven't had a period since 1989. So when I became postmenopausal, that was just, I haven't had a period. What I like to say is, and I had to have everything pulled out. They took the crib, but they left the playpen. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this one too. Come on. Block. Report. Thank you. How do they find out about this crap? Anyway, has anyone else had that? Or heard of someone that has had no periods? They're postmenopausal. Maybe even they've been told by their doctor, you know, your FSA or whatever that measurement, FSH, is wherever. And then you get your period back. I'm going to ask Dr. Westman if he knows anything about it. Yeah, no nuts. Prescription drugs and abuse prohibiting ketosis? Explain, please. Thanks, Doc. Prescription drugs and abuse prohibiting ketosis. I'm not sure what that means. So I'm gonna kind of start to wind this down unless we get some questions or comments or any concerns that people might have, any suggestions for how to switch things up. Oh, for goodness sake. They must just be going to live things. And I'm going to quit trying to do this. I'll let you guys do it. Block and remove. I don't even want those stupid things showing. Okay. Anything? Anybody else? Yeah, scroll. Troll. Anything else? Any concerns? Suggestions? I will be doing a really boring video about how I make my bone broth. I'm going to try to do some more recipe videos. And I am going to try to structure a thing on the Patreon channel that will provide for whoever feels, and I will always have free content. That's not going to change. And if you don't want to donate, you don't. And that's fine. That is fine with me. But for those who do, I'm going to try to give added value. And I'm putting my thinking cap on there. And if you have any suggestions, like, what you would like. Okay. Donor Casey Worthy. Thank you. Oh my God, that would be awesome. I went into menopause after my daughter was born in 2007. I'm only 50. Bad breath and dry mouth. Lost 13 pounds so far. Yay, Marie Smith. That's fantastic. What the heck is a troll? A troll is somebody who's not even want to be part of this content, and they're just flaming. They're making provocative statements. 99 grams of protein equates to 9 ounces. Yikes. I don't know where the 99 grams came to. Yeah, that would be protein. How much protein do I eat? I don't have a clue. I only know if I go back and look because somebody asked me. I don't measure it. I don't worry about macros. I keep my grams of carbohydrate below 20. I eat only when hungry, which means some days I only eat 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 calories worth of food. I'm not eating much protein because I'm not eating much food. I think Saturday, I think Thursday, I looked at it because someone asked, and it was 38 grams of protein, which is about a trump and a half. I saw that thing on the screen. It's about an ounce and a half. And New Atkins being 20 net carbs. No, and I'll tell you, you're talking about the book, The New Atkins for a New You? That's several years old. And as research has changed, and as they've tried to make the diet as accessible to as wide a range of people as possible, they've tweaked it, because it is not one size fits all. My husband can eat more carbs than I can. I must eat fewer than many. Frother on Sharon, you can get a froth. Okay. Good morning. I don't know how to stop this. I mean, they're just creating things and coming in here and trolling, and I'll research and see if there's a way to preemptively block like certain keywords. Does it help the liver? It's pretty good if done correctly. Yeah, this is a very good way to address fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I'm trying. It's going through so quickly. I'm trying to block them, but they're coming in too quickly. Dumbasses have nothing better to do. Yes, I called you a dumbass. Sorry. Can you eat chili? Well, that's a very broad question. Do you mean chili with beans? Nope. Do you mean hamburger and some sauce? Depends on what's in the sauce. If you mean chiles, like green chiles, yes. Yes, the liver has to work hard to process glucose, and your pancreas has to work hard to deal with it. This is a very good way to eat. Keep sharing. We'll handle the trolls. Thank you. Okay, we are now coming up on 55 minutes, nearly an hour. I really am going to wind down. I really appreciate everyone that has come in and all the help you've given me, and good suggestions. And I'm very touched. I mean, hot Mexican chili, like chili peppers. Yes, if it's on page 4, you can eat it. And chili peppers, I eat them. Pain relievers spike insulin and go to the same place in the brain as sugar. Interesting. Didn't know that. Yes, and bone broth is a good vehicle for our salt. For those of you who have been following, I've been adding quite a bit, added quite a bit of extra sodium. Okay, let me, so I had some issues with some heart racing, et cetera, and I added sodium. I don't add that much sodium every day. It's almost like it rebooted. So I did like, made sure I measured out teaspoons of sodium, calculated the sodium based on the label, added that to some broth, and it kind of reset my system. I actually have fewer symptoms than I did before I was doing that, even when I was supplementing with magnesium. So the bone broth, homemade particularly, leaches out minerals. It has magnesium and potassium and calcium. Add the extra sodium and helps balance everything out. He might be a troll too. I don't want to assume hate. Along with weight and inches, I've lost half a shoe size. I know. I wore big fat clogs, super double wide width, and now I wear some sassy platform peep toe pumps in a size down. The first time listening, even though I only caught the last few minutes, I love your video. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, newbie to the keto lifestyle. Keep it up. You have a great week as well. And I can't speak about high liver enzymes because I think a lot of that has to do with the level of alcohol you drink. So I don't want to get into too much of that because I am not a doctor. Okay, we're not going to have that. So you don't add more salt to the broth. If I feel, here's my little trigger. So I'm eating salty food, but I don't do the added salt because if I'm getting up in the morning and I get that little, it feels like my feet are going to spasm or have a cramp, say, oops. And that day I'll have 1 instead of the 2. So to be clear, I had broth, added 2 teaspoons of Diamond brand kosher salt to that, which came out, and I did that twice a day, which came out to about 4.5 grams. And then the rest of my food was salted as I normally do. That seemed to reset it. So now, some days I don't do it at all. If I begin to get the little, my feet are going to curl up like the Wicked Witch of the East under the house, I'll do 1. So, okay, you guys, winding down. Thanks. This will be posted later. If you're watching this and it's outside the times of 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will not be live comments. Some people continue to comment, but obviously we are out of here. I'm going to try to figure out how to way to preemptively block anyone with that keyword. If someone knows how to do it, let me know. Thanks, you guys, so much. Go to my website, CaseyDurango.com, if you want some one-on-one coaching. I love doing it, and I actually learn a lot from the people I coach. And let me know if you've been in ketosis for 2 years or more about subject line ketosis, CaseyDurango.com, and doctor or physician, whatever, if you know of a friendly doctor in your area. And I'll bring you up to date on why I'm asking those questions. I will not show my waist. Goodbye, Bob. You will be blocked next time. Thanks. Adios. See you later, alligator.